Hi, I'm Pam Holt. Welcome today. I have the absolute honor of speaking with one of 40 of the best hosts you'll find globally. All of us collaborated for this book, Hospitable Hosts, and I have chapter 27. I think that's your chapter 27. I have Amanda Williams here. She is the traveling realtor. Shout out to the realtors, in this country and all around the world. You all may not know, but you couldn't live without us. So I have Amanda here. She's going to tell us all about her chapter. She's going to start out by giving us some background on her, and then we'll see where that leads us. Welcome.
Thanks, Pam. Thanks for having me and to the entire Hospitable Host community. So you guys are awesome.
Yeah, it's been a fun time being a part of this book, and I'm so grateful that I was asked and that I said yes, because I've made some really great connections, learned a lot about people and the way they host in other areas, other niches, other backgrounds that they bring to it. It's been a really cool experience. So let's hear about your background.
That is so true. It's always good to play in the same sandbox with people who are doing big things. So
Right.
yeah.
Indeed.
So gosh, to start off with, if you haven't read my chapter, I talk about how I got started with house hacking, which I think many of us actually got started with house hacking. Pretty much renting your own property when you're not there. And so started out that way, started out with Airbnb and then moved into growing a pretty large portfolio of arbitrage properties, which is the rent to rent. After we bought 5, I said, oh, I could do this without owning them. Brilliant. So started doing that. And when COVID hit, we switched over to a midterm rental platform. So now we are just doing 30, 60, 90-day stays. And I'm using all of these properties to attract relocation clients who are coming in to Raleigh, North Carolina, and they stay with us and we sell them a house.
Oh, that's fantastic. Talk a little more about that. That's a good one. How do you do that?
Yeah, so it's pretty much just all in the marketing, right? We branded, we've got 20 properties now. And yeah, like I'm in real estate. And so I know a lot of the real estate agents and brokers in the area. And so I started out kind of just reaching out to them, the builders, the brokers, and just saying, hey, this is what we have going on. If you have anyone in between buying and selling, please keep us in mind. Well, then it got to a point in these crazy last 2 years where we were having a lot of people coming into the area. And thank God they were finding us before they actually found a real estate agent, or at least signed with the real estate agent. And so they would come in and we would say, hey, you can stay with us. We'll make it a stress-free move because you don't have to move twice. This is the thing. We're solving 2 problems, right? If you're in real estate, you know that when someone's moving into a new city, or maybe if you're not even in real estate and you've moved to a new city, you have pretty much 2 options. You either fly into that city and you make a decision like that week.
Right, right. Or sometimes that day, same day, you see things and you have to pick one from that list. Yes.
Exactly. And sometimes it's not the right thing. You don't know the neighborhood. You don't know the house. You don't know, like, is that your area, right?
Right.
So that happens a lot. And a lot of people are not happy with their choice, that sporadic choice. So that's one of the decisions that they can make. The other decision is they can come in and they can sign a 12-month lease and throw away money for a year while they're getting to know the area. So we stepped in and we rolled out a Live Like a Local program. So they can come in, they can stay in one of our houses for a month or 2 or 3, or they can stay in, say 3 of our houses in different locations for a month at a time. And then they can really get a feel for that area. And then they're not pressured into buying a home. They can gradually get to know the area. And then they can be working with one of our real estate agents and buy a home in a neighborhood that they already know that they like and love. And they want to live there forever.
That's brilliant. That really is brilliant. That is serving the customer just completely. That's a great idea because, I feel for the people that come in and they literally, they have a weekend. And so, we take them out, and at least in our case, we have to go to all the appointments. So we have to take them, of course. We take them around to 5 or 6 places. They forget, what's what. that we're in different neighborhoods. At the end of the day, they're completely overwhelmed, but they have to make a choice and they have to write an offer the next day. You know, it's very difficult. That is a fantastic way to ease someone's stress level. I love that. I do. I love that. Okay. So how did you get started in real estate?
Oh goodness, I got started in real estate as a private money lender when I was living out in California. Yeah, I had a great job, and I had no time. And I was taking some real estate classes, like real estate investment classes at the time. It was a 2-year course, and I met a gal in there who was flipping houses, and I was like, "Hey, I got money, but I don't have any time." And so I gave her my money, and she paid me a nice percentage. I think it was like 10 or 12%. And I did that for a few years until I moved back to North Carolina in 2013. And then that's when I ended up getting my real estate license, and I took my money from her, and I was like, okay, I'm going to go do this myself now. And I started flipping houses myself. And that was like the beginning of my journey where I was actually like deep diving into the real estate market.
Okay. So how much of the flipping were you doing? Were you identifying the properties and then sort of turning it over, or were you in there with the broom and a paintbrush and the whole deal? Yeah, nice.
Oh, yeah. Me and my boyfriend, we worked on the properties. Obviously, we had our contractors coming in too, but I can't tell you how many nights we spent with a bottle of wine or a case of beer painting and like just doing it ourselves, tearing out, tile walls in the bathroom. Yep. We did all of that.
Yep. Been there. And what was your favorite part of that?
I really liked the beginning of it because it was exciting. And then about 2 or 3 weeks in, I would start to be like, okay, this thing has got to hurry up. And of course,
it's not that exciting anymore.
And then by the end of it, I love it again once it's done, but it's kind of that roller coaster ride.
Nice. Yeah, I know. It's great in the beginning, and then it's great at payday. That part's pretty great too.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So in your chapter, you tell your story of how you got into short-term rentals. And it's a touching story, and it seems like in a lot of cases people come to short-term rentals at a transition in their lives. It's something has happened that has changed things for them, and they're open to another way, or they have to have another way, or they find another way, and it sounds like that's what happened with you. I won't give away your story because we want everybody to read. But I will ask you, what isn't in your chapter that should be? What else would you like people to know?
Oh, man. That's a great question. I put a lot into that chapter. So if you haven't read it, you have to go read it. But I would say starting out, something that I wasn't I guess I just wasn't aware of because I started with Airbnb, and I thought Airbnb was just like the end all be all. And if I just stayed on Airbnb for the rest of my life, it would be fabulous. And then they would just keep sending me people. Right. I think what people need to know is that you need to brand yourself, and you need to create your own company, and that therefore you own the company. And, yeah, there's a whole story that goes into that I did not tell in the book, but I'm happy to talk about it now.
Yeah.
Because Airbnb can totally pull the rug out from underneath you at any time.
Absolutely.
And they did that to me.
Oh, no. What happened?
Yeah, I had over 500 reviews. At the time, I had 15 properties on platform. And thank God we had a direct booking site, but we had just gotten that going. But yeah, they literally pulled the plug, canceled my account, and would not tell me why. I had
I've heard of that kind of story before. What is that about?
I wish I knew. They wouldn't tell me. I had my general Superhost rating was a 4.87. Like that's nothing like to turn your nose up at. They knew I had a lot of properties, and I literally called twice a week for 3 months. And they're the same thing every single time. We can't answer that question. We'll have someone call you in 36 hours. No one could ever tell me why they kicked me off platform.
Wow.
No one ever called me back.
That's the scariest thing I've heard in a long time. I'm not one for putting all your eggs in one basket, but I do have quite a few eggs in that basket, and that's just shocking. I've heard though, I've read about that kind of stuff, and I've never known anyone who had that happen. I have had people temporarily kind of booted from the platform, but then allowed to come back once they improve some of the aspects of their, hosting. But I have never heard of something like that with someone who was doing so well. That
Yep.
seems so contrary to what they would want from their hosts. I don't. That's
Well, it
awful.
was, yeah, it was really bad. I was very depressed for a while.
So what did
But
you do?
we created another account in my boyfriend's name and just put all the listings up in his name, and we started over that way. But all of our reviews are gone. I mean,
Oh
he's
no.
super host status again, but still. So we're 95% direct booking. And I think that's
Good for
something
you.
else that just really pushed me to be like, I'm going to build my brand. I'm going to build my name, and no one is ever going to be able to have that much
There you
control
go.
over me ever again.
There you go. You're like, touche. You're like, I got you, Airbnb. Thanks for the boost. It's probably a good thing, I mean, it was hard, I'm sure, but in the end, it sounds like, you've made a wiser, smarter, long-term investment in yourself. And that's really what it's about. Oh, that scares me though. Okay. What is, besides, having your own direct booking scenario, what other kind of advice would you give to someone who wanted to host?
I think just surrounding yourself with people who are hosting, who are actually doing the thing. There's a lot of Facebook groups out there,
Yeah.
as we know, and some of them have some great hosts in them. And then some of them have people who just like to talk about it, right? I don't know if they've ever actually done it before. But surrounding yourself with people and having mentors and people that can kind of guide you along the way. Just recently, probably about 6 months ago. So I teach this as well. And I have a big organization in my real estate group, and I teach all of them how to do this too. But just recently, I partnered up with a few of my girls, and we've been having these little masterminds and just really
Nice.
helping each other. Because some of us, like one of them specializes in co-hosting, the other one is theme properties, the other one's coastal properties. And so it's really nice to be able to have that collaboration where
Mhm.
you can they understand what you're going through as a host and running
Yeah,
this business, and you can share what's working, what's not working, and it just makes everyone level up.
that's nice. I like that. Is that a formalized group, or is that you just getting together with some friends?
Yeah, just getting together with some friends.
Oh, no, that's great. That's great. Um, when you first started out, what would your current self tell your first starting out self about this business?
Hmm.
I mean, one thing you'd say is don't put all your eggs in the Airbnb basket,
For
but
sure. For sure, don't do that. Yeah, I think that would be the biggest thing because that was a huge mistake I made. But that's okay. We learn from our mistakes, and everything happens for a reason. I say, just starting out when I started out, I thought I had to buy all the properties.
mm,
And so, like the properties that we were flipping, we kept some of them. We turned those into short-term rentals. I think just starting out, knowing that depends on what your goal is, right? If your goal is to have cash flow, then you don't have to own the property. If your goal is to have, enough to write off like depreciation
mhm, mhm.
assets, then yeah, you should buy the property. But there's a lot of ways to get into this industry to make that monthly cash flow that will free yourself from your full-time job, and then you can get in and you can actually start purchasing the properties and doing whatever you need to do. But now I think I just didn't have a lot of experience getting in,
Mm.
and I didn't know anyone who was doing it. I literally threw my property on Airbnb and said, oh my God, I made money.
I think a lot of us got started like that. I don't know that I thought it was really going to work. And so I didn't give it a lot of thought ahead of time. But once I got through that first 6 months, I was like, okay, this, this could be something. I better pay attention to it. I better actually, write out a description that makes more sense. And I better get some better photos because this could really be a business. Yeah,
Definitely.
that's how I started as well. Would you suggest to new hosts that they begin with arbitrage, or how would you suggest they begin?
I think arbitrage is a great way to begin. It's going to take minimum out of pocket to get in. Especially if you're in real estate already. It's just super easy to talk to the landlords and let them know what you have going on. And especially if you're looking to do the midterms like I'm doing, with the relocation, because it just makes sense. When you go talk to a landlord now and you tell them, what your business strategy is, they're like, oh my God, that's so smart. And so it's really easy to get the properties because the landlords, they get it.
Mm. Do they ever ask you, teach me how to do this? Or
No.
they continue to do their long-term thing?
Yeah, so some of them have been like, well, we kind of want to like get in on the action here. And so we've started doing more of a marketing for some of those. So we will sell them our furniture, whatever's in the property. We've sold them that furniture. And then we say, okay, we'll just market this for you. We'll fill the properties for you. And then we get a 20%. So it's kind of like a marketing fee. We're still taking care of everything. I'm not saying I'm a property manager, because I'm not holding money. I don't touch money. But I am marketing the property and I'm doing all of that for them. So I'm only doing that with a select few of our landlords, people that we've worked with for years. And we already know, how they work. They know how we work. And it's just an easy transition in. And I mean, some people go directly into co-hosting, and that's fine too. So there's a lot of ways.
There are lots of ways. That's the beauty of it. You can kind of do it in whatever way that works best for you. And if it stops working well, you could do it differently, or you could do a bunch of different ways all at the same time. I love the flexibility in it. That's maybe my favorite part. Yeah. So what is it? Tell us about what you do for realtors, how you train them, and what you guys work on.
Yeah. So, I mean, I'm with eXp Realty as well. So I have a pretty large organization of a few hundred agents in like 31 different states, soon to be countries, 5 countries. But I train them on exactly this. I teach them how to create multiple streams of income. And one of those streams is through their either Airbnbs or short-term, midterm rental properties. And the biggest thing for them, and the reason why I want them, well, there's a few reasons why I want them to do this, because obviously the monthly is pretty good. If you have 5 properties, you're going to be bringing in a minimum of $5,000 a month. But on top of that, if you have 5 properties, you should be getting at least 1 relocation buyer every single month. So that's a potential of 12 new buyers for you for that year. And let's just say only half of them close. So that's 6 new transactions that you have that you would have never had before. And so it helps keeping my agents busy.
Nice. That's a nice twist. I've had offices before, and I wasn't teaching that. That it just wasn't even a thought at that time. Short-term rentals have really come to the forefront these days, and that's a fantastic way to add income. And I like the way you can incorporate it into a traditional realtor, kind of wheelhouse. That's fantastic. I love it. What's in the future for you? Where are you going with this traveling realtors thing? What's going on with that?
Well, there's a lot going on. We're building a overwater bungalow right now in Belize. So that'll be a short-term rental. That'll be a straight up vacation rental. So that'll be done in like first quarter of next year. And then we are working on a tiny. I'm sorry?
You're building it?
Yeah.
From scratch?
Well, I mean, we bought into a development. So
okay. So it's okay. So all right, nice. Belize has fantastic scuba diving, right?
Yes, it is. Absolutely. The second largest reef in the world. So
yeah, that's going to be super popular. Fantastic.
Yeah, we're excited about that. We're building a tiny home community in Raleigh, North Carolina. I already have one on 8 acres.
Cute. Oh, tell us about that. I love a tiny home. That's so cute.
Yeah, so this is a little property. We bought it. This was actually our second property. So we've had it for almost 5 years. We bought it off Craigslist for $70,000. I gave the guy $10,000 down and $500 a month. I owned or financed that bad boy.
Oh, nice.
And it was a brand new log cabin, 400 square foot, granite, stainless steel appliances. And this guy bought it and he took it out to his lake, and they were like, HOA said they couldn't have it. So it was on Craigslist. So I bought it and put it on my land.
That's funny that it was on Craigslist. That's hilarious. You never know.
Oh, I find gems on Craigslist.
Nice. I like it.
But that little thing brings in $2,000 a month. And I mean, it's so cute. So we're just going to get some more of those and put those out there. And those will be more short term. Even though I do have people coming in sometimes and they're just, I need something small for cheaper, because most of my properties are 3,500 and above per month. So that's what we're doing. And yeah, there's all kinds of new projects coming up.
In your area, how easy is it to get into rentals? You know, I'm in Chicago, and it's very difficult to find properties that that the city will allow you to utilize as a short-term rental. Do you have that problem there? I know it varies all over the country, all over the world, but it's very tight and very difficult in Chicago.
Yeah. So if you're in the city limits of Raleigh, you have to have a permit. So right now you can still get a permit. And then if you're on the outskirts, which is where most of my properties are, because most people who come into Raleigh, they're not looking to live in downtown. Like they're looking to live on the outskirts. So that's where a lot of our stuff is. And there's no permitting on the outskirts.
So any kind of dwelling qualifies?
Well, I only do single family homes, and my niche is like a half acre of land.
Oh, nice.
So, yeah, I'm pretty strict about that. I'm not in any HOA communities.
So that can be rough. That can be rough on us hosts. Yes, there's lots of rules. Yes.
Yes.
That's really interesting. That's a very different market than my market. So I'm always interested in hearing, you know, how other people manage it, because it's, you know, they just make it very, very difficult. Yeah, a lot of sensationalized stories that have scared people, I guess, and so it's very difficult to get something up and running here.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that's no fun. But yeah, branching out. I mean, we branched out internationally. We're doing some stuff in Cabo, where we bought a condo on a big ship. So that's actually going to be rented as well. It goes around the world. And so
a condo on a ship?
Yeah. Yeah.
That's nice. Okay.
Oh, it's actually a community at sea. And so it's being built right now. There's 500 units on this boat. Wow. And there'll be like 20 restaurants and a dog park and a school and like all kinds of stuff. So it'll travel completely around the world, and then we can stay on the boat, or we can rent it through them as well. And it'll rent for like $30,000 a month.
Oh my goodness. Wow. That's fantastic.
Yeah.
That's really exciting. I love that concept, though. I'd never thought about that. I can't say that I'm the cruise type person, but that's a whole different, you know, take on it. I like that. And so they're literally always on the move, or they dock, they port for extended amounts of time, or how does that work?
Yeah. So each location will be at for 3 to 5 days. So we'll be docked at one marina for 3 to 5 days, but it takes 3.5 years to go completely around the world. So the boat's always in motion, you know, excluding the little stops here and there. So like the first quarter is going to take us 3 months just to go around Italy.
Oh my. Well, I could take 3 months and go around Italy. I think, you know, that's a great way to spend 3 months. Love it. I love it. So will you keep that for yourself, or will you rent that out most of the time? Is that, or are you really the traveling realtor because you just live on a boat?
So it depends. I mean, the boat's still not going to be ready for 2 years. So who knows what life is going to look like 2 years from now. The way that I'm structuring everything right now is I'd like to be on the boat for at least 6 months out of the year. Nice. And then run it for the other 6 months. And so and I use this for incentives for my group too, like for when the agents win something, you know, they'll go to Belize or they'll go on the boat or something like that. So I use all of our properties as incentive trips.
Yes. Good. That's fantastic. I bet that makes the agents happy as well.
Yes.
Yeah. And it keeps your properties occupied, and it keeps, you know, it's an easy one for you. That's natural. Love it. I love it. Okay. Well, this has been really fun. You've got some really cool stuff going on. And, you know, I haven't worked for brokerage for a long time, but I have to say, if I was thinking about coming back, I would definitely give you a call, because you got some fun stuff happening, and that's really cool and creative. So thank you for your time. It's been a pleasure. It's been fun being in the book with you. And, you know, our chapters are close by, so, you know, that's cool. And I look forward to the next thing that you do and following your career and hopefully meeting you in person sometime soon.
I do as well. Thank you so much, Pam. It was nice to chat with you.
Absolutely. Take care. Bye.
Bye bye.